Alright, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we've got Red Trafalgar Law. That's right guys, OP-14 Red Trafalgar Law. I have covered all of the other leaders from OP-14 in their own videos. I will have that I will have that linked in the comment section below if you want to check out any of the other leaders from OP-14. And yeah, this is the last one we're going to be going over today. We will have covered all 7 of them after today's video. So let's do this, guys. We're going to get right into it. Just to lay out the video real quick, first things first, we're going to break down the deck list and go over all the new cards that we're going to be running in here from OP-14. And then we're going to head over to the sim and check out 3 games on the sim, okay? And then after that, we will recap and I will tell you guys about, what I think about this leader moving forward. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is brought to you by Nin Garden. And right now, when you buy any 2 playmats, you can get the non-stitched Sun God playmat for $9.99. On top of that, you can buy any 2 pins to get the 3rd for 50% off. So be sure to use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for 10% off of your next order. Alright guys, let's go ahead and break down the deck list, starting off with the leader. Trafalgar Law is a 5,000 power, 5 life, mono red, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Supernova, and Heart Pirates type leader. With the effect, activate main once per turn, select 2 of your Supernova or Heart Pirates type characters. Swap the base power of the selected characters with each other during this turn. Okay? So now we're going to go over the entire deck list. I'm going to go over the count first, but you guys can pause and read these cards if you want to, because I'm going to mouse over each one as we do. But we are going to thoroughly break down this list and talk about all these new cards, and I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going for with this list here. Okay, so we're running 2 Killer. We're running 4 Basil Hawkins, 4 Monkey D. Luffy. This is the new searcher from OP-14. 4 Cavendish, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 Zoro, this is the OP-01 Rush Zoro, 4 Uruj, 2 Kid and Killer, 4 Tony Chopper, the 2K counter from OP-10, 4 Eustace Captain Kid, 2 X-Drake, 3 of the new 7-cost Zoro, 3 Trafalgar Law, 4 I Have a Plan. It's called I Have a Plan to take down one of the 4 Emperors, but I'm probably just going to be calling this I Have a Plan, and then we're running 2 Shambles. So let me go ahead and just start right here, guys, and start working through the list, because there's a lot of cards, a lot of new cards in this list. So we're going to start right from the beginning here with Killer. So this is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. Activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. This is a pretty common 1-drop for red. We've seen this quite a few times in the past. Nothing too special here, but this is a nice 2,000 power or less Supernova character. That's going to be very important to remember with this next card we're about to look at, okay? So we're running 2 of these to reassign Dawn and maybe get some extra value, where we need it later in the game by getting extra Dawn for the turn. So next up is Basil Hawkins. This is kind of how I'm building the deck, is around Basil Hawkins. Let me read the card and I'll explain. So it's a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter character. So that's like a searcher frame, right? Well, this is a searcher, but check this out. It's not an on-play searcher. It's an on-KO searcher. It says on KO, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and play up to 1 Supernova type character card with 2,000 power or less. Okay? Other than Basil Hawkins, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So I have, because of this card Basil Hawkins and because of this card Monkey D. Luffy, which we're going to look at in a minute, this is a top 5 Supernova searcher, okay? And just a standard searcher with a win attacking. Again, we'll talk about this more in a minute. Because of these 2 cards, I'm trying to focus much more around the Supernova package. Now, yes, with the leader effect, we can use Heart Pirates cards as well, but I think focusing on Supernova is the way to go. So if I bring up OP-14 real quick and go to the red cards, let me show you guys something. There's a few other 2-drops that came out in OP-14 that are very strong with our leader's effect. However, my bigger problem is this is a Heart Pirates card only. And the same thing with Beppo. This is a Minx and Heart Pirates card. It's not Supernova. So in other words, we can't play it out off of the Basil Hawkins search. And we can't even search it up with Monkey D. Luffy. And for me, personally, that's a problem, right? At least for the way that I'm trying to build the list. That's why we're not running, again, you can pause these cards and read what they do if you want to. Very solid cards. We're not running Shashi and Penguin in this list, and we're not running Beppo, unfortunately. Okay, so it is what it is. Now, so that's the Basil Hawkins. We have quite a few targets we can hit with this Basil Hawkins. The 2 killers we just looked at, these 4 Luffys, these 4 Cavendish, these 4 Bartolomeo, we'll talk about these in just a minute, and these 4 Uruj. Okay, so that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. So guys, when it comes to top 5 searches, excuse me guys, when it comes to top 5 searches, 18 is the number I go for of searchable targets. When it comes to the top 5 searches, I think 18 or more is the sweet spot, because if you use like a hypergeometric calculator, it will show that like it basically gives you a 90% chance to hit what you want to. Now, yes, 1 out of 10 times you're gonna whiff. You're gonna miss your searches on something like this. However, I still think that's a pretty decent point to be at. And then it allows you to have some other options included in your deck as well. You don't have to go all in on one searcher type or one specific thing, like in this case, Basil Hawkins targets to cheat out from the top 5 cards of our deck. Okay, so that's it. So Basil Hawkins is a big deal in the way that I'm building this deck, because you'll see as we go through the games, what you want to do every single turn is you want to drop down a 1-cost card and then buff it with some 5,000 power or higher character card and then allow it to get KO'd. So with Basil Hawkins, that's a perfect 1-drop for us. We attack in, excuse me guys, we attack in with it for 5,000 power by moving power around from other characters, and then when it gets KO'd next turn, we're just holding our hands up like, okay, sure, that's fine. KO my character. Now I do a top 5 search and play out another character to replace it. That offers us a lot of tempo. Okay, so we're running 4 Basil Hawkins. We're running 4 Monkey D. Luffy. So this is a 1-cost, 0-power, 1k counter character. On play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Supernova type card other than Luffy, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then we have a when attacking effect, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 1,000 power during this turn. So that's actually very solid. These 2 in particular are the cards you're going for on turn 1. Okay, there is another card. This killer is good to play out as well. Going first, I'm saying on turn 1, you have 10 really good 1-cost targets, and really you have 14 if you want to count the 1-cost event searcher, but developing a body is much better if possible. So whenever you're doing your early mulligans, whether you're going first or second, I would try to hit one of these 10 cards. Really, these 8 right here, the Basil Hawkins and the Luffy. And again, this card's very solid as well, but developing a body on turn 1 to go with our leader effect, extremely important. If you can get that, good stuff. Okay, now, excuse me, guys. So we're running 4 Cavendish. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter character that says if this character has 5,000 power or more, this character gains Rush. Okay, well, that's not very hard for us to pull off, right? Because of our leader effect. If we play out, now we probably don't want to play this card out early on. We probably want to save this till later in the game and combo it with something like this Zoro. Okay, this Zoro's kind of the perfect combo target for the Cavendish on a 9 or 10 dawn turn, because you go, okay, play out the Zoro, smash in, and attack with your leader, attack with this Zoro or whatever, and then you play out the Cavendish, and you give the Cavendish the power of the Zoro. Well, now it's an 8,000 power character, and it has Rush. Okay, so that's kind of the combo there. You can also do this with other cards as well, like the Kid and Killer, or this 3-cost Zoro. There's plenty of ways to pull that off. Okay, so this Cavendish, very solid. Okay, then we're running 4 Bartolomeo. This is a 2k counter, basically, that has the ability to be cheated out, to be cheated off the top of our, the top 5 cards of our deck from the Basil Hawkins, and of course it's searchable by Monkey D. Luffy. There is another Bart that I want to bring up real quick, guys, all the way back from OP-01, and I did consider running this card in the deck. I don't think it's a bad choice at all. In fact, I was going to say you might want to run it over this Tony Chopper, but this is a 2K counter, so maybe not. We'll talk about Chopper in a minute. But Bartolomeo, this is a 2K counter. That's the main reason I'm running this, and it is Supernova searchable, so that means we can play it off of the Basil Hawkins effect or search it up with Luffy. Very solid card for the deck, but another card to consider is this other Bartolomeo from all the way back in OP-01. Okay, so then we're running 4 Zoro. This card's just solid. It's a Supernova searchable card. 3 costs 5k with Rush. Allows us to put on a lot of pressure. Then we're running 4 Uruj. This is from OP-14. It's a 3 cost character, but that doesn't matter. Number 1, it is Supernova searchable, and it's 2,000 power. That's the main factor here. Let me read what it does, and then we'll talk about it with Basil Hawkins. 3 cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter. When attacking, if this character has 5,000 power or more, draw 1 card. Okay? Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. Drawing a card, always a good thing, guys. Always a good thing to draw a card in a deck like this. I think it's a very good thing to do. Okay, and then we also have the ability to maybe clean up some of the smaller characters on the board if they have little chump blockers or little searchers. Really good stuff here. Okay, now this card does go perfectly with Basil Hawkins. Basil Hawkins doesn't care what the cost of the character is. It only cares if it's a supernova and if the character has 2,000 power or less. Well, good news. This card is both of those things. It is a supernova and Fallen Monk's Pirate, or Fallen Monk Pirates, and then it's also a 2,000 power or lower character. So perfect. Okay, running 2 Kid and Killer. This is Supernova searchable, and it's just a very strong rush card. Once your opponent's at 2 or less life, you're attacking for 7,000 for 4. Okay, really, really powerful card here. And it buffs up your character to 7,000. And this, now one thing to consider is this does swap the base power of your characters. So you won't get the plus 2,000. I don't believe you get the plus 2,000 power buff if you were to swing in, if you were to, attack with this for 7,000, and then, like, let's just say you play out the Cavendish, and if you were to swap the powers over with Trafalgar Law, if this translation is correct, it says swap the base power, so that would just give you the 5,000 power. But still, 5,000 base power, that's enough to activate the triggers of something like Cavendish or Uruj. So that's all we need anyway, and that's fine. Okay, so really good card here. Tony Chopper, this is just a 2K counter. You can run whatever utility 2K counter you want to in red. Let me just bring up C2000. There's all kinds of different red counters in the game. Supernova should be, something to focus on, but there's actually not a lot of great 2K counters for Supernova. If I'm missing one, guys, y'all tell me. But I think, let me just type in Supernova real quick. Look at this, guys. So all of this stuff here, let me see. I'm just going to kind of, let me see something real quick. I think if you do 2 ands, you can search up, what is that, C2000? Nice, so that did work. Someone taught me that in the stream the other day, guys. And when they said that, I said, wow, that is something I need to remember. So check this out, guys. There's only 3 2K counters that are Supernova searchable in red in the game right now. And that is Bartolomeo that comes out in OP-14, this promo Luffy, and then this random Jory Bonnie that's a 6 cost 7k vanilla character. So that's not really great, right, for what we're trying to do. The Bartolomeo is, and that's why we're running it, but there's really not anything else that we can, I don't know. You can run this Luffy if you want to, but you not only can you not play this off Basil Hawkins because it's a 3,000 power base character, but you also can't even search it up with Luffy because you can't search up Luffy's with Luffy. So I don't really see the point in playing this card, unfortunately. Bonnie's okay. Bonnie's not bad, but it doesn't really do anything for the deck. So if that's the case, I think it's just smarter to just choose your favorite 2K counter. Maybe Otama for the power reduction. Maybe Sanji if you're trying to play against, leaders that are starving you. Basically just run whatever 2K counter you think is best. That has the best utility in your opinion. Okay, I'm running Tony Chopper because it's a blocker. I'm not running any blockers in the deck other than, I am running some actually. We're running 4 Eustace Captain Kidd, and this Bartolomeo can get blocker if you give him 2 Dawn. But I'm not really running a lot of blockers, so I'm running this. I think it's a decent 2K counter. Okay, next up we have Eustace Captain Kidd. 4 cost 5k, 1k counter, blocker. With on play, if your leader has the supernova type, play up to one red character card with 2,000 power or less from your hand. Okay, perfect. Yet again, this is all going around this little triad right here, this little triangle of synergy. The Basil Hawkins, the Monkey D. Luffy, and the Eustace Captain Kidd. This is providing us with tempo and in some cases some hand advantage, some card advantage. It all just kind of goes together perfectly, and we're not afraid to really lose any of these cards either, right? Like the Basil Hawkins, if we lose this card, we replace it immediately with the on KO effect. Monkey D. Luffy replaces itself immediately, and when we attack in, we get the minus 1,000 power debuff. And then this Eustace Captain Kidd allows us to cheat out, the cards we might be searching up with these cards, that we're building our deck around. It can play those kind of cards out, and it can block for them, which is very relevant because if your opponent only has their leader attack, and say they attack for 6,000 into something like this Basil Hawkins, it's like, okay, do you want to save this card for a 2K, 2K, 1K? No. Instead, I'd rather just block and give you a 2K. You see what I'm saying? So this card is actually very important, and it helps you flood the board for next turn. Well, now you have a 5,000 power character on the board, and you can go from there. So this card's actually excellent. Okay, next up we have X-Drake. This is a 5-cost 7K. It has opponent's turn once per turn. If your supernova type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may give your leader, you may give your one leader minus 2,000 power during this turn instead. So you do debuff your leader in the process of saving a unit, but that could potentially win you games, right? And then we have a Dawn times 1 effect when attacking. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay, so guys, we have a way to reduce power with this X-Drake and with this Monkey D. Luffy. And like I was saying earlier, if you want to run Otama over something like the Tony Chopper, you can absolutely do that to get more power reduction, which is going to help you win the board. Okay, and then here's some more power reduction. We have the 7-cost Zoro, 7-cost 8,000 power Rush. When attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 1,000 power during this turn. This is just a generically good card. I think I've mentioned this before in another video. Guys, this card is just good, period. It doesn't really have a downside. It would have been fine as a 7-cost 8,000 power Rush character, but then it also has the when attacking to hit a card on the board for minus 1,000 power. So really, really good stuff here. Okay, then we have Trafalgar Law. This is the a 9-cost 10,000 power SR with Rush, and it has on your opponent's attack once per turn, you may trash 2 cards from your hand and select one of your characters. Swap the base power of the selected character with the base power of your leader during this during this battle. So the main idea with this effect, the on your opponent's attack effect, is you're going to trash 2 cards from your hand, and you're going to swap your leader's power with this character's power. That's the main synergy with this card. So the idea behind that is this: if your opponent swings into you for 9,000 power, right? Okay, well that would take you 3 cards minimum from your hand. Okay, if you had a 2K, 2K, 1K. Now, if you had defensive events, that changes the math, obviously. But generally speaking, if your opponent were to swing 9,000 power into your leader, okay, well, that's a 2K, 2K, 1K, like I said. All right, well, instead, I can just trash 2 bricks from my hand and then swap the power of my leader with this character, and now I get out of the attack for free. Well, not quite for free, technically, but for 2 cards instead of what probably would have been 3. So really good stuff here, and it's a 9-cost 10K with Rush. You're keeping up the pressure. You're just smashing into them. Really powerful card here. Okay, then we got 2 more cards to go over. We're running 4 I Have a Plan. This is just a 1-cost top 4 searcher for Straw Hat Crew or Supernova. So now this Luffy can only search up Supernova, but this event can search up Straw Hat or Supernova. So we can search up the 2K counter if we need it with this event, and then the trigger, draw a card. And then we're running 2 Shambles. This is a 3-cost event from OP-14. Main, select 2 of your opponent's characters with 9,000 base power or less. Swap the base power of the selected characters with each other during this turn. So this might help you battle for the board a little bit. The other idea that I had with this one is, okay, I could potentially combo this card with something like Uruj that says if this character has 5,000 power or more, draw a card, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. 3,000 base power or less, excuse me. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, we'll have to wait for the FAQ to come out on this, or if anyone knows, they can say something in the comment section below. But when you're swapping characters' base power, I think that will work out just fine with a card like Uruj, where if you swap, let's just say your opponent has a 6,000 power character and a 3,000 power character. Okay, well, Uruj can hit the 3,000 base power character. Well, Shambles actually swaps their base power, okay? It's an interesting idea going on there, and it's very tricky with the rulings. We'll have to wait for a confirmation from Bandai to see if that's how that works. But I think that's the whole point of them wording this card like this, and printing cards like Uruj, and maybe even potentially the 4-cost PRB02 Kobe. This card says KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 base power or less. Then if you have 6 or less cards in hand, draw a card. So if things do work the way that I think, we might want to add a card like Kobe to the deck. And if that's the case, we could actually rework the deck ever so slightly. Maybe we don't need a card like X-Drake in the deck. Maybe we go -2 of these, and to go +2 Kobe. Where did he go? To go +2 Kobe, and then maybe move a few other cards around to go up to like 3 or 4 Kobe, and then maybe 3 or 4 Shambles, and then we could have a little bit more control with the deck like this. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But that does, if things do work the way that I think with this base power moving, that would allow your Uruj or a card like Kobe to get a lot of extra value, more value than I think was intended from Bandai. Okay, well, that's it, guys. That's enough yapping. Let me move all these cards out of the way. Let's go ahead and head over to the sim and see this deck in action. All right, guys. First game up we have against Black Crocodile, another OP-14 leader. Let's get the volume off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Now, okay, let me pause right away. I forgot to mention, do we want to go first or second? I think going second is the way to go, guys, but going first with this deck is not exactly terrible either. Going first, we have plenty, we do have a few one-drop options. I think we had exactly, 4, 8, 12, 14 different cards we could play on turn 1 between the 10 characters and the 4 events. So we have plenty of turn 1 plays. But going second, and actually going first, we also have a nice 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 curve, the more I think about it. The 1-drop plays into the 3-drop Zoro, into the 5-drop X-Drake, into the 7-drop Zoro, into the 9-drop Trafalgar Law. So going first, we are completely fine, but going second is nice as well, because we have a lot of really nice 2-drops. And then, of course, we have our 4-drop Eustace Captain Kidd that we can play out right away, or even on turn 1, play out 2 1-drops. That could be very powerful as well. Okay, now let's see what we're getting into in this game here. So, again, I think going second's the way to go. It looks like we're stuck going first here. We're going to play out the Luffy. We're going to grab the 3-cost Zoro, and we're going to pass the turn back. Okay, they're going to play out a Searcher of their own, the Miss Valentine Makita. They do some searching, and then now that Searcher trashes the rest, which is really nice for Crocodile. Okay, so now we're going to swing for 5, and guys, we're just going to bring the heat here. We're going to swing for 5 more with Zoro, and then we're going to swap the power of the Zoro and the Luffy, and we're swinging for 5,000 more. Okay, so here we go. Do they want to attack into the Luffy? Because that's fine with me. We don't even care. They're going to do that. But now, how much are they going to attack into the Zoro for? 9? Okay, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and let that go now. Okay, we're going to do a top 5 search, or a top 4 search with the event. Now we're going to swing 5 into 2. I need to get that 2K off the board so he can't keep getting rid of my 2,000 powered characters easily. We have to get that card there off the board. It can just generate too much value over the course of the game against a deck like this. Got to clear that board, guys. Got to go for board control, even when you don't want to. Sometimes. Unless you have to go for game, obviously. Okay, so they play out Miss Merry Christmas. They're gonna draw a card from that, reduce the power of my Eustace Captain Kidd. They're gonna go 6 into 5. I could save it one time, but then they'd run it over with the leader. I just let it go. Okay, so then they're gonna attack into us. I think we took that, and now they pass a turn back. We're gonna play out Zoro minus 1,000 to that Mr. 1 Das Bones. Swinging 8,000 into it. Then we go 5,000 into leader. Now we're going to swap the power of the Zoro with the Basil Hawkins and swing for 8,000 into their leader. They're down to 3 life, guys. And I think they're on their 8 Dawn turn now. Okay, they did not have an 8-cost dragon, or excuse me, an 8-cost crocodile to play out, guys. 8 cost dragons, 8 cost crocodiles. We got all kinds of crazy animals, right? But no, seriously, 8 cost crocodile. That is the play they would have definitely preferred right there, I think. Who knows? Maybe they did want to set up a Miss All Sunday first and then start stringing the dragons together. But hey, we'll take it. I think that was a nice break for us. So they get rid of my Basil Hawkins. I search up an Rouge. I can now get rid of that Miss Valentine with the Rouge. We're going to swing for 8,000. And I think we're just going to slam down the 9 cost Trafalgar Law, guys. Okay, so they block with Mr. 4 Babe. We're going to swing for 10,000. Swap the power of Rouge to 10, getting rid of their Miss Valentine and drawing a card. We just ate up their whole board, guys, and now we have an 8K and a 10K on the board. Okay, there's the crocodile. I knew it was just a matter of time. They're going to start locking down my board here. That's unfortunate. I don't really understand why they made it where my Rouge cannot attack. I think they should have actually, I think they should have KO'd the Rouge here. But who knows? Yeah. I think that's the right call. So right here, I tried something. I changed the, I think I trashed 2 cards here. The X-Drake and the Basil Hawkins to swap the power. And then I just 1K out or give it a 2K to get out of this. I was like, I'm going to save this card. I'm going to save it. That might have been a little extra, but hey, we saved the card and it stands up. Now he can't go for it. Okay, here we go. So we play out a Monkey D. Luffy. We search up the 9 cost Trafalgar Law, and now we're swinging in for 5,000. They 1K counter out. Okay, well, now I'm just going to swing for 10,000 into 5, and I'm actually trying to rush him down. I'm not going for the Miss All Sunday here, guys. That's an 8,000 power character. So they're going to use a 1 cost 4K and a 1K 1K. So I know they're lacking in the 2K counter department here. They're going to go 10 into 8. We're not going to use any of these effects here. We might just let this card go. Might just let it go. Yeah, we could have 2K, 1K to get out of that, but then they attack in again with a Miss All Sunday, and they're just eating my whole hand up. They're just going to eat up my whole hand at that point. They play out another crocodile. They're locking down my Trafalgar Law, and then they're going to minus 10 cost to the other one, replaying the crocodile, locking down my other Trafalgar Law, and we're in a tough situation here. Okay, excuse me. They're actually going to lock down my Rouge and play out another Haute Couture Patchwork to lock down my Trafalgar Law. They're going to swing for 8. We're going to take this. Swinging in for 5. We're probably just going to 2K out of this. I want to save the Cavendish here, I think. Yeah, I almost got rid of the Cavendish. Nope, we don't want to do that at all. And guys, we've got a lot of attacks coming in here. We can swing 3 times this turn, guys. Watch this. We can swing 3 times. So I think we're going to swap the power over. We're going to swing for 11. Okay, or we could just swing for 14. That's another option. We could just swing for 11 and then 14. What do you guys think? Okay, let's see. Just waiting on my opponent here. They're going to ground death and 2K, 1K. Okay, well, now we're going to swing for 7. Can they survive this? They cannot. So now we'll play out the Kid and Killer. And I think we should have swung for 8 and then 9. We had a little bit of a hiccup there with the math. But hey, we were able to get there in the end. Good game to my opponent. You guys see what's going on here, right? We're just trying to flood the board in these really obscure ways, playing out a bunch of little 1-cost characters, and then we're just going to swap the power around like crazy and just run them over from there. We're getting multiple attacks in each turn. Okay, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. So that was against Crocodile. Now we have one against Blue-Purple Sanji. Volume is off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Okay, we're going to be going second this game. Very nice. So they're going to start off with a turn 1 Kaya, and we're just going to start off with a search. So right here, I think we might grab the Luffy to just keep the searching going while filling up the board. Yep, and we're going to go ahead and probably grab, it looks like we're going to grab the 3-cost Zoro. I think that was probably fine. 3-cost Zoro is probably fine because we already have a 7-cost Zoro, and I think that was the other option. Okay, here we go. Let's see what they choose to do here. Are they going to attack into me? You never know what the right choice is, especially early on in a set. Is it better to just starve your opponent, or is it better to just attack into them more aggressively? So this Sanji is just filling up their trash like crazy. They are going to attack in, and we are going to gladly take it. We're going to save all of our counter power. We don't have very much right now, but we're going to save all of our counter power for defending our characters. Okay, we play out the Eustace Captain Kid, cheating out the Basil Hawkins, swinging in for 5 with the Luffy, swapping his power with the Eustace Captain Kid. They're going to go 0 into 0, and I think we're just going to let it go. Yeah, we're fine with that. We're fine with that. I could have 1K countered out of that. Well, actually, no, I can't, guys. I only have a single 2K counter in my hand right now. Okay, so let's see what they choose to do next. They have 5 Dawn left, and remember, guys, we are on 2x speed. We're just waiting for our opponent to, make up their mind here. This is a very important turn. They do establish the Sanji, which is the right call, I think. Okay, we're going to pay 1. Use the Searcher event here. we're just going to snag a Basil Hawkins, just more ways to flood the board. We're going to swing for 5 into 5, and then I think we're just going to go ahead and play out hang on, we're going to swing for 5 first with our leader, and then I think we're going to fill out the board here. We're going to swing for 6, and then we're going to develop the other Basil Hawkins. And now my opponent's in a tough spot here because they want to get rid of that Basil Hawkins, or I'll just buff it, right? But if they get rid of it, well, I'll just replace it, right, with the on-KO effect. Okay, and it eats up an attack, so it kind of distracts them a little bit, kind of slows them down. Okay, so the Sanji player is just filling up their trash like crazy. They're trying to get their 3-cost Sanji to a 7,000 character, but we do have ways to attack into that Sanji, don't we? All right, here we go. They have 3 Dawn left. They played out another Sanji. What are they going to choose to do here? What are they going to choose to do here? 5,000 into 5,000. I think we have to save that. We do have to save that. If they get rid of it with the other attack from Sanji, that's fine. I just don't want to lose 2 characters in one turn. At least if I don't have to. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to go ahead and slam down. They pass the turn back. They have 2 Dawn up. We're going to swing 8,000 into 5. This is probably just going to be a Gum Gum Giant right off the bat here because we're swinging 8 into 5. That'll get him to 9. That's a perfect interaction. Yep. And it's actually going to get them to 10 because they're going to go plus 1,000 from the Sanji's effect. 8,000 into 6. Okay, they counter out. Well, we're going to go 6 into 6. You see what's going on here, right, guys? They're down to 3 cards in their hand. We'll swing in for 5 more. They use Concaster to get out of that one, and now it's back to them. I probably would have taken that just to fill my hand up. So they use a Red Rock to get rid of my 7-cost Zoro. They swing into Basil Hawkins. I get an Urush from the on-KO. And now what, guys? They're going to do 7 into 5. That's fine. 7 into 5. We're going to take that, and here we go. It's back to us now. They have 1 Dawn left, and they have 2 cards in hand. 2 cards, guys. I have another Zoro to attack into their Sanji. I'm going to go 8 into 6. Because I have another 8. Okay, they let that one go. That was probably the right call. Because otherwise, we're just going to keep attacking into it. Okay, here we go. We're going to go 11 into 7. Is he going to be able to get out of this? The answer is maybe, right? So he's going to 1 cost. So he had to get a... pause. Hang on a second, guys. That was kind of an interesting interaction there. Because we swung 11,000 into 7. So Gum Gum Giant does not for sure get out of it. He gets to 11,000, but he only had 2 cards in hand, right? So that got him down to 0 cards in hand to get to 11,000 to match. He had to hope to get a 1K or a 2K counter out of the 2 cards that he was going to draw from the effect, and he did end up getting what he needed there, which was you know, a little bit of luck, but hey, it was a risk he had to take. Okay, well now I'm just going to attack in for 5. He takes that. He's down to 1 life. I'm at 2 life, guys. What is he going to do now? Okay, he got a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger trigger to get rid of my Urush. Okay, he plays out Otama, which is a on play. I think was it a draw 2 trash 1 if you have 3 or less life. Trashes the buff burst. Interesting. Swings 5 into 2. I probably would have kept that buff burst just to draw some cards here. But he's going to attack into my Basil Hawkins. I go ahead and snag my Bartolomeo. That Basil Hawkins, when you build the deck around enough... Okay, interesting. Hang on. Let's pause and talk about what just happened there. I think he had a slightly better option. Maybe not, actually. So what I was going to say is maybe he should have gotten rid of my Bartolomeo with the Red Rock he's about to play, and then try to attack everything into the Zoro just to see if he can get rid of that, because otherwise, how's he supposed to stop me next turn? Okay, here we go. So this is what he ends up doing. He Red Rocks my biggest character, attacks in for 8. We take that, and here we go, guys. I think we're just going to go for a calculated lethal to the best of our ability. Swing for 5. It forces the last card. Okay, well, now we're just going to play out the law. We're going to swing for 10. And there's a reason I didn't just swing for 12. Well, first of all, because watch this. He almost got out of that. It's the crazy part. But the reason we didn't just swing all out for 12 is just in case he could have done a Red Rock into a double 2K. Because then that would have put him... If I would have just loaded everything on the Bartolomeo and swung for 12, then it would have been a potential Gum Gum Red Rock, putting him at 9,000 into a double 2K, putting him at 13,000. However, with this route, we attacked him with the Trafalgar Law for 10, and then swapped the power over to Bartolomeo for another 10. Okay, so really brutal, very beautiful, no, brutal course, interaction there with the swapping of power. Okay, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. We got one more game. We got a game versus Red-Black Sabo. Volume is off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. All right, Red-Black Sabo, guys. Very tough matchup here. Red-Black Sabo seems like they're doing very well in OP-14. So we're going second, which is nice. That allowed us to do a search and put a a killer on the board. I keep wanting to say kid and killer from the 4 cost from what was that, EB01 or something like that. Okay, now turn 2, we play out the Eustace Kid. We put down an Rouge. We swing in for 5 and then swing in for 6. All right, are they going to get rid of this card? It's going to be tough for them. They don't even go for the killer. That's crazy, guys. Not going for killer seems crazy to me. But hey, I guess they know what they're doing, because now my board's almost completely full. So we play out another killer, and at this point, watch this, guys. We're going to swing for 5, or excuse me, I think it's going to be 6. I'm not sure why we did it in that order, because I think what I need to do now is swap the power of the Rouge, swing for 6 more. Oh, excuse me, because they're at 6,000 power, of course. That makes sense. Now we attach 2 more Dawn to our leader with the killer's effect and swing for 7. That's why I think they should have gone for that killer, guys, because now I get 2 free Dawn every single turn. They play out a Sabo, and where are they going? Are they going to keep going face? No, that was very wise of them. Don't keep going face. They attack into the Rouge, they attack into the Eustace Captain Kid, and I lose those 2 cards, but now we have cards to replace them with. Watch this. Playing out a Zoro. Let's attach a Dawn. Where's it going? Probably to the leader. I think the leader would be the right call, yeah. And then we're going to attack for 8 into 6, minus 1,000 power to their blocker Sabo. Now he's just a 7,000 again. Now we're going to swing for 8,000 more. Actually, we're going to swing for 6 more. I'm kind of tempting him to block. Like, go ahead and block with the Sabo. Okay, block, and now he has to 2K, and now I'm going 8K into 6. I probably should have gone into the Sabo there, but I knew he had a dragon in hand. He did reveal that with his, I think it was with his last search, or one of his searches earlier. He did show that he had a dragon. That's why I didn't go into it, but maybe I should have, because now he's got 2 Sabos on the board. Okay, 3 into 1. I don't think we care about that. Yeah, we don't care about that. Let that go. Now, 6 into 5, 2K counter. Yeah, we're not going to let them just have that for free. We'll force another attack into it, because otherwise we'd have had to defend out of an 8K attack from their leader. All right. Well, here we go, guys. I'm starting to think I should have gone for that Sabo last turn, because then they would at least have less cards in hand, even if they could save it. So here we go. What are we going to do here? I like playing out the 9-cost Trafalgar Law, but I also like playing out the 8-cost, the 7-cost Zoro. Okay, here we go. Yeah, playing out the Law. This is the right call. We're going to attach Dawn, swing for 6. This is a free block, of course. And now we're going to go for 8 into 6. We're kind of beating them down here. We minus 1,000 power to their Sabo. That's just a 7K blocker now. They take that. Well, now we're going in for 10,000 more. They're going to have to Waxing Fist to 4K, 2K. And now we're coming in for 10,000 more. There goes their blocker, guys. Yeah, I'm starting to think if we had gotten rid of that Sabo last turn, we probably would have been able to just clean this up, just totally finish it. We might have been able to beat him last turn. Who knows? Okay, so they're going to play out the 8-cost Rush Dragon, the red dragon. Let's see what they choose to do here. They attack into killer. We're going to let that go because we have to try to survive right here. 7 into 5. I only have 5K counter in hand. I don't know. I only have 3 life, though. So I would have to get out of 2 attacks. I think I need to get out of this one. Notice I'm doing the math right now. I think I need a 2K, 1K to get out of this. Okay, where is this going? 9 into 8. Okay, I think they probably should have tried to go for lethal there. Now, who knows, it might not have worked out, but I think they probably should have tried to go for lethal there. Okay, 11 into 10. We're probably going to 2K counter out of this because they can't attack into it with anything else. Their leader's 9,000 and their Sabo's only 8,000. They cannot attack into Trafalgar Law. So that's probably going to be game, right? They're probably realizing that now. Oh, yeah. We've got some heat in hand, guys. We got a lot of attacks here. All right, here we go. So we're going to move this attack over. We're going to swing for 10,000 into 6. That's going to be met with the 2K, 1K. They can't actually get through, unfortunately for them. But, hey, that was a good try for my opponent. Good game to my opponent there. Red-Black Sabo, very tough deck to deal with right now. I think it's doing very well in OP-14. Okay, let's head over to the deck list, guys, and we'll start wrapping this video up. So what do I think about this leader moving forward? I have to say, and just any kind of last-minute adjustments to the list, I think Trafalgar Law felt the most incomplete out of all the leaders I messed with today, or excuse me, not today, out of all the leaders I've messed with so far from OP-14. And that's not to say it's bad. I just feel like it's lacking something. Like this X-Drake really wasn't what I was going for. I probably need to replace this card. And then I wish we had a good 2K counter. I wish we had a really good, you know, searchable 2K counter off this Luffy, and especially if it could double over being a 2000 power or lower supernova character that I could cheat out with this Basil Hawkins. That would have been ideal. So I hope they improve on that for this list in the future. And then there is some uncertainty with this deck. There's two other things I have to talk about. Number one is, what are they keeping from OP, you know, from block 1? I don't think this card will be reprinted, will it? I'm not exactly sure. But if you look at let me go back to the, let me bring up Bartolomeo from Red. This is an OP-01 card, and so is this Zoro. So are these cards about to be gone in April next? I think it's in April next year, right? In 2026. I think the block rotations come in sometime around then, and then this Zoro might just be gone. And the same thing with this Bartolomeo option. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there. And then last but not least, there's a big problem with this leader, at least from what I came across in my testing. This is a slash type leader. Okay, well, what does that matter? Vivi, what does that even matter? Well, there is a new leader coming out in OP-14 with this leader called Dracula Mihawk. And this card has a plus 1000 power buff permanently against Trafalgar Law. Notice the first effect here. If your opponent has, excuse me, if your opponent's leader has the slash attribute, this leader gains plus 1000 power. Sorry, you know, it just simply is what it is. Printing a card like this, printing a leader like this with this kind of effect really hurts certain matchups. And I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what Bandai was going for. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing right now. Trafalgar Law being a slash type leader and having to go against a 5-life, 6000 power green Dracula Mihawk, that's not the best place you want to be at. Because I think Dracula Mihawk, especially the way it's being built nowadays, it has a lot of stun and like lockdown potential. that really hurts what we're trying to do, right? Like we're trying to establish a 1-cost body every turn, and then on the next turn we're trying to buff it and attack in, you know, from one of these other characters we can swap their power with. Well, if Dracula Mihawk's just locking down your characters with cards like Perona, or resting down your characters with cards like Dead Man's Game or whatever, well, now you just can't really establish yourself. You know, I think it's going to be tough. So with a leader like Dracula Mihawk existing, it's going to be tough making this leader work. We'll have to see how strong Dracula Mihawk is, because if this leader kind of falls off in the meta, then Trafalgar Law might be able to pop up. You know, we'll have to see what happens. But otherwise, I think it's going to be very tough for Trafalgar Law to deal with a bunch of Dracula Mihawks, because I did some testing and it was not pretty, guys. Let me tell you right now, my testing into Dracula Mihawk was not pretty. It was borderline depressing. Like, oh man, this is rough. I'm always having to battle uphill because they're a 6000 base power leader against me. So that's a tough one to deal with there. But other than that, the leader is very fun. You know, going back to Trafalgar Law, this leader is very fun. OP-14 is very fun in general. All the leaders I tried have all their own, you know, unique qualities and traits that make you want to play that leader and have fun with it. And this leader was no exception, right? It was a lot of fun to play, has a lot of potential, and it has a lot of built-in synergy from the get-go, right? Like this whole entire, like I said earlier, this little triangle here of Basil Hawkins, Luffy, and Eustace Captain Kidd, that is very nice in the early to mid game. And then you get to curve out later on with your 7-cost Zoro and 9-cost Trafalgar Law. Yeah, this is nice. You know, this is really nice stuff going on here. So I'm hoping that in the future, somehow in the future, I'm hoping they give a little bit better 2K counter support, guys. Because like we looked at, there's only 3 Supernova 2K counters available in red. That's just not enough. We need more support there, in my personal opinion. And then this X-Drake, like I said, this is a solid card because you can even play it out on curve going first. And it's really not that bad, because if you played out some type of 2-cost character on your 3-dawn turn and, you know, maybe attack for 6 with your leader, or play out a 1-cost and a 2-cost, whatever, next turn playing out your X-Drake, you get to attack with your leader and then attack for 7,000, not with your X-Drake, but by swapping the power of the X-Drake with some smaller character you might have played out before. So the X Drake is actually very, very solid. But if they had a better option here, I would prefer that instead. I guess that's the main thing I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys today. What are y'all doing? Tell me, y'all's. Are there any kind of spicy cards you guys are running for Trafalgar Law that you've been messing around with your testing? Please share it in the comment section below. I'd love to know. But overall, I think this leader's pretty solid. I don't know how great it's going to be in OP-14 because of a few factors. Number one, I feel like there are like 2, maybe even 3 leaders in OP-14 that it's almost like they directly counter this leader. Boa Hancock being blue, yellow, and maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 4 leaders, guys. Because black, yellow Gecko and blue, yellow Boa, they both gain life. And whenever you're trying to rush your opponent down and they're gaining life and getting answers from their triggers, that's a rough spot to be in. But then Dracula Mihawk is probably going to be a very tough matchup for this leader, and then Purple Doflamingo. So it's one of those situations where, man, this is a really cool leader on paper, and the way that the deck, functions, it's pretty solid. However, it might have a few too many roadblocks in the way of it from becoming super competitive. But we'll have to see. Maybe someone can find out a really good list, and if you guys do, please share it in the comment section below. If y'all find a really good list here, be sure to tell us down there in the comment section below. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me get the outro page on here. Thank you to everybody who made it this far. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, or viewing my stuff, or using my TCG Player affiliate link, you are helping me out big time. Thank you so much. If you're donating through Patreon or PayPal, if you're a Playmat supporter, a YouTube member, or part of the Discord community, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. This community has been absolutely amazing. All right, I'm done. Hope you all enjoyed. Till next time, peace.